Hey guys, welcome back to the Luminous Life. It is your girl Shamia, aka the Luminous One herself. We are here to review the season 2, episode 1 of Preachers of L.A. And I'm going to give you kind of an overview of what the show is and what it's about and who the cast members are. If you didn't get a chance to watch season 1, I believe you can watch some clips of that on Oxygen, or like watch recaps of it and stuff like that on Oxygen. I'll link it below so you can find it on the website. But yeah, so I'm here to do season 2, episode 1. Let's go with a little bit of a overview, kind of a little history. So Preachers of L.A. is an American reality television series that premiered October 9th, 2013 on Oxygen. Preachers of L.A. chronicles the lives of 3 bishops and 3 pastors, from their work within the church to their personal lives at home. The series also encompasses the spouses of the men. In 2014, Oxygen renewed the series for a second season with all the original cast returning, and that is premiering tonight on August 20th. So it was also announced that the potential spinoffs are being cast in New York, Atlanta, Dallas, and Detroit. So maybe TD Jakes, who had a little something haterish to say about last season, maybe he'll get his chance. It stars the following pastors and bishops. So you have Pastor Dietrich Haddon, who is also a gospel singer, award-winning gospel singer at that. You have Bishop Clarence McClendon, Pastor Jay Haslip, Bishop Noel Jones, Bishop Ron Gibson, and Pastor Wayne Chaney. So season 2, let's get into it, shall we? Season 2, episode 1 is titled Judge Not. So you'll hear a lot about judging in this episode, and you'll know why if you continue to watch it. So this episode begins with Dietrich and Dominique, who last season actually got married technically twice. They had their kind of legal ceremony in her mother's backyard with just the 2 of them and the mother, and I think the baby was there, and then their friend married them. So they were legally married before the actual wedding ceremony itself. So I mean, that's cute, that's fine, do what you gotta do, because they wanted to live together, right away. So they just went ahead and got married, and I think that's cool, to each his own, right? So this episode begins. So at the end of last season, it was revealed that Dominique was in fact pregnant again with baby number 2. This time, they were married when she, was pregnant this time. But they have a beautiful daughter who I believe now is 3 going on 4, I believe, and her name is Destin Haddon. Cutest little thing ever. So Dominique is pregnant, and I mean pregnant, big round basketball pregnant, right? And they're taking a walk, trying to get labor started and that kind of thing, and get a little exercise, get a little air. But she's big. I hadn't seen her since last season, and she didn't look pregnant last season, but y'all, she's big. And so Dietrich's I bet the baby's gonna come tomorrow. So anyway, so you see Faye, who is Dominique's mama, looking like she looking healthy, and then you see the baby having a fit. Okay, so the next thing we know, the next scene is Dominique and Dietrich on their way to the hospital to have the baby via C-section, and TV magic, boom, baby is born. Again, I said via C-section, so cutest little thing. Definitely got that Haddon nose. And Dietrich says, that he's excited, and that, it's crazy how, it's another baby, and he's a father again, and that it's his blood, flowing through that baby, and, it's all beautiful and great. So, cute little moment between the 2 of them. Before that, you see Dietrich talking with Faye, who is Dominique's mother. they have like a funny little relationship. Like, it's kind of like this kind of bickery, kind of jokey bickering that they do, and it's quite funny to me. Okay, so next we're introduced to Bishop Noel Jones and Loretta, his quote unquote girlfriend. We don't know. They don't have a title, but they've been together like 16 years, so I would call her his girlfriend, but we don't really know. So they're at the JJ Lounge or whatever, that little restaurant that they have together. You know, Noel has come from overseas, blessing the people. To me, he's always carrying a bag. Okay, he always got some like crazy sunglasses on, and I love the way that he talks. He's got like this like prim and proper accent, but it's also like you can hear that island, that Jamaican in him. I think he's Jamaican. Yeah, you can hear that Jamaican accent, but it's like proper and prim and, you know, astute and studious and all of that. But I love the way he talks. Loretta, on the other hand, the way she talks irks me just a little bit. It's not like what she says, because she is very, very much so, you know, at least she sounds it, educated, and, you know, she has good conversation, you know. She can hold her own, you know, in conversation, but I think it's the actual way that she talks that I can't deal with it. It's very strange and very weird, I know, but like the way that her mouth moves when she talks, like, I don't like it. It kind of makes me like, just like, oh, I wish she would stop. Noel says, you know, why are we going way overseas and doing all this stuff overseas when we, you know, could be helping out our own people right here in our own neighborhoods? And he mentions maybe having the guys over to, you know, discuss planning something for the community, like an outreach project. And then they also discuss the Dietrich and Dominique's baby and the Sip and See, you know, event that Dominique is having to, you know, see the baby, instead of doing like, so with your second baby, people tend to, you know, not really do baby showers, because traditionally you only have baby shower for the first one, and then you can do like a sip and see or like a little, you know, kickback kind of thing, meet the baby kind of thing. So that's what they're gonna do. It's very southern, like a sip and see is a very like much southern thing, I think. But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting because, you know, Noel they couldn't make it to the wedding. So I think the last time he saw them, they were probably, you know, fairly pregnant. So it'll be interesting. Okay, so then we're, you know, we see the Haslips, that's Christy and Jay. You know, they're at the house and they've been heavy into this house remodel, which, I mean, I don't really remember what their house looked like before, but, you know, it looked good so far. But yeah, so Christy brings up the fact that Dietrich, you know, she was invited to the Sip and See to see the new baby Denver, and is like, well, you know, it's kind of funny that when I married them, she was pregnant. Okay, now I'm not sure if he says he didn't know that she was pregnant until like the rest of us knew on TV, you know, and that they were already married like the rest of us on TV. So my thing is like, why are you upset that they're pregnant? I mean, they didn't tell you because they didn't tell anyone else. You know what I mean? So get out your feelings, Jay. You know, they didn't tell anyone else, so why would they tell you before they tell their family, especially? So he's like, you know, that compromises my integrity, that, you know, they were pregnant, you know, before they got married. Now, he didn't, you know, mention the part that they were already legally married before they got, like, kind of publicly married. And it's like, well, they were already married, you know, let these people be, you know what I'm saying? So he's worried about his integrity. I get it, you know what I mean? I get it. I definitely understand it. Being a pastor, marrying someone, you know, who is pregnant and didn't tell you, and then, you know, I don't think it matters at this point, you know what I mean? Like, for you to still be kind of upset about it is a little bit, just kind of pointless at this point. But he's a little bit, you can tell he's a little bit upset about it. But I'm like, Christy, if you feel some kind of way about it, talk to him. You know what I mean? Bring it up, talk to him, ask your question, get your answer. That's all you can do, right? Because you can't assume anything, because that'll make a what out of who. So next we see Pastor Gibson and First Lady Loretta. I think that's her name, right? Loretta. They're cute together. They're like a cute little old, little past middle age, couple from Compton. One thing about her that I learned this season is that she gonna be who she gonna be. Cute little old lady, but she said she can hold her own, because she said, remember, I'm from Compton too. I'm like, okay, go ahead, Loretta. Tell him what's up. Tell him you can hold your own, okay? So yeah, they're just in the kitchen, having morning conversation, getting ready for their day. Loretta mentions the sip and see and that she's gonna go, and he's like, well, don't let them, talk you into nothing, and don't let them, kind of overstep you and that kind of stuff. And that's when she says, I'm from Compton too. So I'm like, ooh, First Lady. But yeah, she says he gets a little overexcited when things like that happen, but they not gonna put their hands on her. So I don't see the real issue, but I understand what he's saying. He's like, stand up for yourself, don't let them overstep you, and that kind of thing. So theirs was a quick little segment, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so next we have Pastor, is it Pastor or Bishop? We have Pastor Wayne, Chaney, and Myeshia. Chaney, they are so cute to me, because they're pastor and first lady, or pastor and minister or whatever, but they're also normal, and they come across as normal, and they come across as a couple, meaning they kiss each other, and they talk about sex, and they talk about love and life and parenting, and they're just kind of all around normal people who just so happen to be pastor, first lady, pastor, and minister, and on TV. And they come across as the realist to me, the most kind of regular kind of people. And I think that they, couple wise, are my favorite couple on the show. First to the Haslips, who would come in second place as my favorite couple on the show. But they're so cute. But they just talk about how he just got back from Israel, and how he misses her, right? And so what else? And how she's gonna go to the sip and see, and excited about that, and yeah, just regular stuff. They the people that I can relate to the most. If I could relate to anybody on this show, which I can't, because I'm not married, I ain't no preacher's wife, I ain't no preacher, that kind of thing, but if I could relate to anybody, it would probably be them. So yeah. And Myeshia, girl, did you lose weight? Because not that you was big or anything like that, but you looking real svelte. Even sitting in the bed, I could see the weight loss, and the toning and all of that in your face, in your body. You look good, girl. You look good. But they said, you're looking good. But we'll see what happens with them and later on in the season. I think that's pretty much it from them for this episode, though. Okay, and then we have the McClendons. So they're just in the office, talking about what they doing. To me, they're the most ingenuine or whatever. They're the most not genuine people. They seem so fake. It's just a feeling you get, and the way they kind of talk and do things just seems very staged and fake. Whoever his makeup artist is, baby, tell him or her to call me, because he is looking nice and, beat by the face, okay? Because he definitely wears makeup and you can tell. But it just, their conversations seem very, like, scripted, I guess. It literally looks like they're, like, reading, like, cue cards. Like, when he takes a phone call, it's, like, very much so fake. Like, it's like, who are you hanging up with? You weren't talking to nobody. Who is this email? Where did this meeting come from? These people act like when he was in that meeting, like last season, when like somebody tried to come up on the stage or whatever, or the kind of pulpit area, like those people look like, why did you call us here for this? I got actual stuff to be doing in the church, and you called me in here for this. Like, they looked very much so bothered, impressed. So they seem just very much not real. Like they're going through lines in their head that they want to say and that they have to say, and it's the least genuine of everybody. So I see it the least for them. So I don't come for the children. But even their kids seem very much so, daddy told me to say this, so I'm gonna say it, kind of situation. But I mean, you'll see, like, when you watch this, if you watch this episode after watching my video, or before, think back on that first little scene with them in the office and how just disconnected it felt. And you'll notice what I'm talking about. Okay, so yes, I know that it is a whole nother day. I done changed clothes, been to work and back, but we are going to finish this review if it is the last thing I do. So next part of the show, we are all the guys are showing up to Bishop Noel's house for the kind of discussion and pre-planning and whatnot of the outreach kind of idea that he had. So Jay's there, Ron is there, Dietrich is there, and the one with the bald head, I can't, Bishop Wayne, I think it's, and Wayne is there. So yeah, they're just throwing around ideas about an outreach type of thing, doing something in their community, something in the LA, California area. They bring up the idea to do like a gang thing. Well, Ron, Bishop Gibson, Pastor Gibson, brings up the idea to do something about gangs, and they like, that's not our calling. We fool around and get shot, and that's the truth. Okay, everybody ain't no gang member. Ron, you can take, it's true what they say, like you can take somebody out of the something, but not the something out of that somebody. You can take him out the hood, okay, clean him up and have him looking good, but that hood, that thuggish, ruggish bone is still in his body, and you can't do nothing about that. He done brought the gun to the pastor house for the little meeting. Talking about I drove a topless car, a ragtop car here. I had to be careful. Ron, you a pastor? Are they gonna shoot the pastor? He kills me with that thuggish, ruggish bone stuff that he still can't let go. What he call it, a mighty burning fire. Ron, we're gonna pray for you. We're gonna pray. But yes, they bring up the idea to do something in their community, and that whole conversation turns right. It don't even turn left. It turns right. And, they bring up Loretta. So how that comes up is Noel is like, well, I don't know who, your camp is, your camp, your crew and team, but we got to get together and do this thing. And he was like, me, Loretta is, my camp. So Ron, comes out and says, no, she can't be, she's not a part of the crew because she's not a wife. Now this whole issue of Loretta and her not being a wife and Noel and Loretta not being married keeps coming up, and it's gonna keep coming up. And me personally, oh yeah, they bring up Loretta and that she's not a wife and she shouldn't be involved. And I have an issue. This is Ron still talking here. I have an issue with you guys being together as long as you have been, 16 years. Somehow 16 years, and her, you guys not being married but doing married couple, past and first lady kind of like stuff that you do in a marriage, right? Doing that marriage stuff together but not being married. You know what I'm saying? She's not a first lady. She's not your wife. So, Ron has an issue with what they doing and not being married. So Jay says like, well, I don't see any sin in it. I don't see any sin in this. Like, if there's no sin in it, then what's the issue? And it's like, me personally, I don't know their relationship. I don't know what they've been doing for 16 years. None of us know but them two. So I don't see the issue, but I get where they're coming from. But then again, it's none of my business, just like it ain't none of theirs, right? So when you get these men together, like, it's crazy. They just like some women, just catty and crazy. Okay, so then Jay calls Dietrich aside because he wants to talk about the whole Dominique being pregnant, when he married them at their wedding ceremony. So he's like, you didn't tell me that she was pregnant, and y'all weren't married yet, but they technically were. But like I said, I don't remember if Jay knew about their private wedding before the big ceremony. But he was like, if it was a normal situation, I would have had premarital counseling and had to sit down with you guys, and we would have talked about it, and we could have talked about this whole thing. But he's like, I didn't know that she was pregnant. And I guess he feels some kind of way about it. It's like, well, dang, it's too late now, Jay. I mean, what can you do about it now? And what would you have done? They were already married when they were already legally married when they had the big ceremony. So it would have been, kind of pointless anyway. But Dietrich is like, well, when you and Christy got married, before you and Christy got married, did you guys have sex? And he's like, yes. And then Dietrich says, okay. And he walks right on out. Didn't say a mumbling word. Walked right out. And it was like, you can see Jay's face just kind of crumble. And his spirit just crumbled, because it was like, dang. He called you out. Like, how you gonna say that you didn't approve of that, them being pregnant when they were technically married, but before they got big married, and you have your issues with you and Christy had sex before y'all got married. You had your little issue with drugs and alcohol and all of that, and you have your issues. So how can you call somebody on theirs? And basically Dietrich just told him with just a few words, well, then y'all, before y'all, well, okay, then bye-bye. You can't judge me. Okay, so now we're getting ready for the sip and see, the little ladies evening, afternoon, whatever, together. And it's told that Christy Haslip won't be there because the issue between Dietrich and Jay, their whole little beef. So she called and told Dominique that she wouldn't be there. Now, to me, that's a respectable woman. A woman that'll call you up and say, hey, I'm not gonna make it because this whole beef between my husband and your husband, it ain't gonna work, and I'd rather kind of skip out on this one for now. So Christy, you get points in my book. Dominique, you get points in my book for y'all just kind of sticking by your husband's side, but also still being friends and being you know, respectable women and being able to call each other and, you know, just talk about that kind of stuff. So then the conversation between, is it Loretta and Lavetta? It's either Lavetta or Vanetta. Whatever Ron's wife's name is, Lavetta or Vanetta. And then Noel's is Loretta. Y'all, these Eddas, okay? The two Eddas get in kind of like a little bit of a heated conversation. And Loretta's like, you can't judge me until you become godlike and until you become, you know, blah, blah, blah. You can't judge me. So since you're not God and you're not godlike, you can't judge me and cast, you know, judgment upon me and yada, yada, yada. And Myeshia, you know, it chimes in and says, well, can she not have an opinion? Which, I mean, everybody is entitled to their opinion. Whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, whether you accept it or not or whatever, everybody is entitled to that opinion and should have the right to voice it. Now, are you going to listen to it? Am I going to receive it right? You know, that's situational. But everybody should have an opinion. But it just kind of gets heated and keeps getting more heated. And Loretta's like, you can't judge me. I'm not going to listen. So you can't argue with the wall. Because guess what? The wall ain't going to move. You know what I'm saying? You can argue with that wall all day long and tell it that it should be 2 feet back. But that wall is there and it's not going to move. And that's the kind of situation that they were in. And that's how it ends. They didn't like come down off of that. It just kind of ended real high. And so I'm a little bit excited about next episode and nervous at the same time about what's going to happen. So... and then they show you a little bit of, you know, previews and what's going to happen this season. It is a lot. There's death. There's love. There's fighting. There's movements and marches and tears and arguments and laughs and just a lot. I kind of teared up at the previews because I was like, oh, this is too much. They're wrong for putting all of this on me, and it's just a few seconds of each episode, you know, a few seconds of each little moment.